Washington Township couple pushing to get their children back in the classroom. Tonight, I'm Nicole Griffin with their reaction to a new plan just announced by the district.
There will be Big Ten football this fall. Hear how the plan came together and what it means for IU and Purdue in the weeks ahead.
A call to action tonight. The American Red Cross says if you have a place in your heart to help, they have a place in their organization for you.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
We know that things aren't perfect. Our students, our staff, our board, we do not live in a bubble like the NBA basketball players. COVID is going to hit someone.
A date is set for students in a Northside school district to return to the classroom. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. For the last month and a half, students at Washington Township schools have been taking virtual classes only. WRTV's Nicole Griffin takes a closer look at the new plan and finds out how district leaders hope it provides a safe option for all families.
Earlier this month, I talked to a couple in Washington Township that started a petition that eventually got over 300 signatures. The goal was to get the attention of the school board to revise their reopening plans. And now here we are just over a week later, and a new plan has now been announced. So I followed back up with them to see what they think about this new plan and any concerns they may have moving forward. Since July 30th, students in Washington Township have been doing virtual learning. Mark Walters has 2 kids in 1st and 2nd grade at Allisonville Elementary School.
It's becoming harder and harder for us to operate our own work lives and professional jobs, balancing this e-learning.
Mark and his wife started this petition in August, hoping the school board would make changes to their reopening plan.
Whether it be the petition or, cascading some of this through your guys' TV station definitely had a positive impact.
On Tuesday, the school board called a special meeting where they ultimately voted to change the threshold for students to return to in-person learning. The board decided if the percent positivity rate in Marion County is at 8% or below for 2 weeks, students can return to the classroom.
We had probably gotten equal feedback on both sides, pressure to push and get the schools open, as well as pressure to keep them closed, stay the course. The 5.0 is the positivity for spread, and stay with that.
School board member Wanda Thruston says the district has worked hard to put safety precautions in place for students to return to school. But she cautions parents to be aware that changes could still come if the percent positivity rate rises above 8% in the county.
They're overly excited. I've never seen children wanting to go back to school this bad, and since I've been a parent.
The plan calls for preschool and students in kindergarten through 2nd grade to return on October 12th and the rest of the district to return on October 19th. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Well, one of the other big changes decided in Tuesday's meeting now allows all students, whether virtual or in person, to be able to participate in extra or co-curricular activities and athletics. A virtual option is still available for all grade levels when schools reopen.
And the on-again, off-again, and unknown future of the Big Ten's football season came into focus today. Games will be played this fall. The conference announcing a new plan that will get teams back on the field. WRTV's Brad Brown has details on how it all came together.
A couple of weekends of watching a bunch of other schools play, and suddenly the Big Ten is getting back on board.
Really happy for our players and coaches and just everybody in the Big Ten. I know it's been a roller coaster, and it's been, a lot of things have happened these last few weeks, but I just feel like that we've got a great plan in place.
A little more than a month after canceling fall sports entirely, the Big Ten approved on Wednesday a plan to kick off its football season before the end of October.
The only focus and goal that we've had over the last 40 days was to safely allow our student athletes to return to competition so they can fulfill their dreams of being able to get a world-class education at one of our 14 institutions.
A proposed 9-game schedule will start the weekend of October 23rd and 24th. No bye weeks. A championship game could be played on December 19th. Lucas Oil Stadium being a potential and likely site.
I do feel like that each team will have enough time to get ready, and I think we're all confident that that's going to happen. I want to applaud really our presidents and chancellors, particularly President Daniels, for having the courage and the wisdom to allow time to be presented more information.
Players, coaches, and anyone involved in football activities will have to undergo daily COVID-19 testing. Any players with a positive test would sit out for 21 days. And if a team reaches 5% total positive, they'd have to shut down for a minimum of 1 week.
We've now compressed the season, so there's not a lot of wiggle room. If there is a postponement or cancellation of a game, then you probably won't be able to play that game, just because of running out of time. So it definitely is going to create some challenges.
There will be no public sale of tickets for the Big Ten's games. For the most part, families of players and coaches will be the only ones allowed in the stadiums on game days. No word yet, though, on what that would mean for the Big Ten championship game in December. Coming up tonight on the news at 6, we talk more about the timing of the Big Ten's announcement and how the calendar may have played a strong role in how this all came together. Working for you, Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
The Indiana State Health Department reports 12 more deaths from the coronavirus. 3,247 Hoosiers have now died with COVID-19. More than 107,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus, and more than 1.7 million people have been tested in Indiana, with 6.2% testing positive. Some parts of Indiana are once again considered hotspots for COVID-19. ABC News obtained the White House Coronavirus Task Force state-by-state status report that contains recommendations for governors. That report shows that as of last week, Connorsville and Peru were metro areas considered to be in the red zone, along with Monroe, Fayette, and Miami counties. Now that means their new COVID-19 cases were above 100 per 100,000 population, and their positive test rate was above 10%. Indianapolis, Bloomington, and Muncie were each in the yellow zone, meaning their cases or positive rate was only slightly lower.
Metro Police say the public is not in danger as they search for a suspect in an overnight homicide. The deadly shooting happened late last night near downtown. Police were called just before midnight to Marlowe Avenue near Oriental Street. They found one person dead of a gunshot wound as well as a second victim. That second person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police tell us they believe this was a targeted shooting.
And we've seen a beautiful day today. Those temperatures right now close to 80 degrees across the area. We didn't get warm like we expected to into the mid 80s, and that's because we saw a quick shift in those winds. And you can see on our Weather Now camera that we still have some of that white haze in the sky today. That's still due to that wildfire smoke filtering into the area. We are going to start to see that move out as we head through the day tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to see those temperatures dropping into the 60s by 10 p.m. A little bit more cloud coverage as we head into the evening, and that's due to a system to the north of us. We have this cold front that'll start to sweep through as we head into the evening and overnight into tomorrow morning. What that's going to do is really just bring us a lot of cloud coverage, not expecting a ton of moisture with this. Now, we do need the rainfall, but we're not expecting any with this. If even maybe a light shower, but likely we'll just see that cloud coverage. Behind this, much cooler air is on the way for the weekend. Today, temperatures were into the 70s, upper 70s and low 80s. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler, 72 degrees for your high.
Thanks, Alyssa. An urgent call to action tonight from the American Red Cross. It needs Hoosiers to step up and help with disaster relief efforts across the country. The Red Cross wants to send 20 to 30 people from Indiana to disaster relief sites each day. Help is needed in several states due to wildfires and hurricanes. Red Cross organizers say many former volunteers aren't able to help right now due to health concerns with the pandemic. Anyone 18 and older is able to sign up and help. Training can be done at your own pace. Volunteers would help connect evacuees with resources and food, among other things.
Our time will come, just as it has in the past. The tornadoes in Kokomo, the flooding in Noble County and in Evansville, we've relied on the help of other states' Red Crosses to come here. And now it's our turn to give back.
Coming up tonight at 6, you'll hear from some local volunteers out in Oregon. In the meantime, if you're interested and able to help, head to our website, WRTV.com. We have more information on volunteering posted there.
Firefighters battling the West Coast wildfires say this year's blazes are some of the worst they have ever seen. They say the fires are taking a deep toll on all resources, including human, mechanical, and financial. And half the fire season is yet to come. Officials say heat, drought, and a decision to attack the flames early combined with the coronavirus to put a historically heavy burden on fire teams.
We see them around town, restaurants with closed signs on the door, and those doors are closed for good. Ahead, the sobering numbers showing the impact COVID-19 is having on the industry.
President Trump taking tough questions from uncommitted voters. Did his answers sway them one way or the other? Find out straight ahead.
A new survey shows the coronavirus has left the restaurant industry in limbo. The National Restaurant Association just released the results of its survey. The group says nearly 100,000 restaurants have closed either permanently or for the long term because of the pandemic. That's left nearly 3 million employees out of work. The survey looks at 6 months following the first mandatory shutdown in most states. They found that most restaurants are still struggling and they don't expect their situations to improve. Sales overall are still down. According to the National Restaurant Association, the industry is on track to lose $240 billion by the end of the year.
Did you know the Supreme Court has not heard a case in person since early March, and that's not going to change anytime soon. When the new term begins in October, the High Court says it will continue hearing oral arguments by phone. Audio will be available to the public. Doing it this way is something the court put in place because of the pandemic, and it says the decision to continue is keeping in line with current public health guidance on COVID-19. No word yet on how November and December sessions will be conducted. From healthcare to racial justice, uncommitted voters peppered President Donald Trump with questions last night during an ABC News 2020 special event. It was a town hall with uncommitted voters in Pennsylvania. ABC's Faith Abubi is in Washington with the highlights.
Last time around.
Potential swing voters in a battleground state slinging tough questions at President Donald Trump.
Why don't you wear a mask more often?
A much different tone than the cheers that welcomed the president outside the ABC News town hall in Pennsylvania. During the 90-minute forum, the president not always providing direct answers to voters' questions.
Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing?
A good question is you ask, like Joe Biden.
When has America been great for African Americans in the ghetto of America?
Well, I can say this. We have tremendous African American support.
And once again, defending his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has infected millions of Americans and killed more than 195,000.
Why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
Trump's answer is the exact opposite of what the president admitted to famed journalist Bob Woodward in March during recorded interviews obtained by CNN.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
Just before Tuesday's town hall, CNN releasing even more clips of Woodward and Trump discussing the heavy toll of the virus in its early days.
Was there a moment in all of this where you said to yourself, and then you say, this is the leadership test of a lifetime?
No.
No.
I think it might be, but I don't think that. All I want to do is get it solved.
Back at the town hall, those potential voters sharing their take on Trump's performance.
Really showed that human side to him, and that's really what I was looking for.
Well, I'll say it won't be Trump. I'll say that.
ABC News offered Joe Biden the same town hall opportunity, but neither could find an agreeable date. And Joe Biden will get a chance to take questions directly from uncommitted voters in a similar town hall on another network on Thursday. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
An historic flooding event is taking shape along the Gulf Coast as Hurricane Sally continues to move inland. The storm made landfall this morning as a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 105 miles per hour. Sally pummeled southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. Now it's a tropical storm and slowly crawling further inland, moving northeast, threatening catastrophic flooding.
I will tell you it's bad. It's going to take a considerable amount of time to clean up from this.
In Escambia County, Florida, a section of the 3-mile bridge that connects Gulf Breeze to Pensacola is missing. Damage is scattered everywhere, with many roads flooded, power lines down, and trees toppled. With Sally's slow pace, generally 3 miles per hour, some areas have already collected up to 24 inches of rain and could receive up to 35 inches of storms by storm's end. Nearly 27 million from the Gulf Coast to Virginia are now under flood or flash flood warnings.
And we had a really nice day today. Those temperatures just a little bit above average. Here's some video that we have from downtown earlier today. A lot of people outside enjoying the beautiful weather. We did have a little bit of that smoky haze still across the area, but nothing to really stop you from getting outside and enjoying it. We have more nice weather on the way in our 7-day forecast. However, it is going to cool down a little bit. Today, our high right around 80 degrees here in Indianapolis, a little warmer to the north. We didn't get as warm as expected, and that's because the winds shifted, so we didn't see that warm air advecting into the area as we thought we would. Tonight, we're going to be more mild than what we saw last night as well. Last night, some areas were in the 40s. Tonight, we're all going to be in the 50s or low 60s, but don't get used to it because our evenings are going to drop off quite a bit over the next couple days. Tonight's going to be comfortable and mild, but that's not going to be the trend as we head towards the weekend. Taking a look at Hurricane Sally right now, it's become a tropical depression as it continues to move towards Georgia. It's going to cross that line and impact Georgia throughout the night tonight and into tomorrow before it makes its way over into the Carolinas, causing widespread flooding in its wake. Again, this is a very slow-moving storm. It was slower as it made landfall, and then it has picked up a little bit in pace, but still moving very quickly and having a major impact for areas to the southeast. Now, often when we see those hurricanes to the southeast, we'll see a little bit of those remnants moving into the Midwest and into Indiana, bringing us some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, but we're not going to see that with this. That system is going to veer off right back into the Atlantic, and we're maybe going to see a few clouds to the southeast from that, but for the most part, not going to be impacted. What we're going to do is look to the north. We have this cold front that's going to sweep down from the north. That's going to happen tonight and tomorrow. That's going to bring us a little bit more cloud coverage. It's also going to bring a little bit more moisture, maybe a stray shower, but more likely we'll just see clouds. And unfortunately, we do need that rainfall. So we would like to see more of that rainfall, but not likely we're going to see it over the next couple days here. Along with that cloud coverage, we're also going to see a little bit cooler air moving into the area. Now, we are on track for the driest September on record, less than 1/10 of an inch so far in 2020. We could use a lot of rain, but taking a look at the 7-day forecast, you'll notice not a rain shower in sight. Tomorrow, 72 for the high. Maybe a light shower, but more likely just cloud coverage, and then much cooler as we head towards the weekend.
Census workers are going door to door right now after a 4-month pandemic delay. Coming up next here, how to tell if yours is the real thing or an imposter looking for personal information. Census workers this month are fanning out across the country trying to get information from people who missed the mail forms. Consumer reporter John Mattery shows us how to know if the census taker is real or an imposter, so you don't waste your money.
The census workers are out. After a 4-month delay, census takers are now going door to door. But how do you know if they're real? Don't be surprised if you open your door and find a census worker standing outside.
I'm here to help you fill out your census questionnaire.
Workers, in this video provided by the Census Bureau, are now visiting homes where no one has responded to their mailings. But these days, many of us are suspicious of any solicitor. Amy Cheney told me earlier this year she got a suspicious census call.
It showed up as unknown, an unknown phone number.
So we asked Michael Cook of the U.S. Census Bureau how to know you're not being scammed. He said a real worker will show you their government ID right away.
The key here is if someone comes to your home, if they present a census ID, you can trust assured that it is the Census Bureau.
Now, it's important to know that when a census worker comes up to your door, there are some questions they're going to ask you, but there are also some questions they will never ask you if they are legit.
Census Bureau will never ask you for your Social Security number when it comes to the 2020 census. We don't ask for bank account numbers. We do ask when we come to your home for your phone number.
They will ask your age, race, and how many children you have, and they will request your phone number, but only for follow-up. Amy Cheney was right to be suspicious because the caller ID should have said census, not unknown. Still have questions? You'll find plenty of answers at the census website, 2020census.gov. That we don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese, WRTV.
Pringles is looking at changing its iconic packaging. The Potato Crisp brand is testing out 2 new looks for the tall tube. One is with a paper lid instead of plastic. The move comes after a recycling group in the United Kingdom dubbed Pringles the #1 recycling villain. Kellogg's owner of Pringles says they expect their test to run for 6 weeks in the UK before deciding whether to take the idea worldwide. And you could be the new owner of a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. All you need is about $6 to $8 million, and Stan the T-Rex can be all yours. Stan walked the earth some 67 million years ago. Now his skeleton will be displayed at Christie's in New York before he's auctioned off on October 6th. He's a big fellow, though, 13 feet tall, 40 feet long, and made up of 188 bones. He is one of the largest and most complete T-Rex skeletons in the world. Scientists have been studying him for the past 2 decades, and now it's time for him to go to his forever home. You'll need a big room for that one. Still to come at 5:30, neighbors concerned about their homes and their health, why there's so much opposition to a solar panel project.